50 million Americans woke up under freeze warnings this morning. At the very same time, Phoenix just hit 102 degrees, the earliest 100-degree day that city has ever seen. Ever. And right in the middle of all that, 180,000 homes in Michigan and Wisconsin still don't have power. Wind chills running -20. No heat, no lights. In the middle of March. 3 completely different weather disasters. One country, one morning. That is what we are dealing with today. Stick with me, because at the 6-minute mark, I'm going to tell you something about a Sunday storm that the weather models have been quietly flagging for days. Snow in late March. In places that haven't seen snow at this time of year in a very long time. And it's not that far off. And if you hang around to the end, I've got some genuinely good news about next week. And I mean real good news. Not me just trying to soften the blow. All right, let's get into it. A lot on the plate today, so let's just walk through it region by region. That big monster storm from this weekend, it's gone. Officially out of the U.S., now spinning at 954 millibars off eastern Canada. Out of our hair. But folks, what it left behind is very much still the story across a big chunk of this country. Let's start up in the upper Midwest, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, because a lot of y'all are still digging out this morning. Near Marquette, Michigan, some spots picked up close to 4 feet of snow from that one storm. 4 feet from one storm. The National Weather Service wasn't calling that an outlier. That was the actual forecast. And it verified. Right now in Minneapolis, you're at 15 degrees with a wind chill around -5. And that's after the worst of the cold has already started backing off. Fargo is at 12 degrees this morning, -10 overnight low. That's the kind of cold where frostbite hits exposed skin in under 30 minutes. If you're still out there shoveling, please slow down. March snow is heavy, wet snow. The medical folks call it heart attack snow, and that's not a figure of speech. Roofs are collapsing under the weight of it up in Minnesota. Schools in Minneapolis closed for the 3rd day running. This is not a normal cleanup situation. Now that Arctic air mass, it's not sitting still. It's pushing south and east. And that is where we get into a whole separate problem for tens of millions of people. Freeze warnings are stretched from New York State all the way down to Alabama and Mississippi right now. That is a massive geographic footprint for one cold air event. Nashville, 46 high today, but 25 overnight. Charlotte, 50, and then down to 27. These are crop-killing temperatures for the Deep South. Atlanta hits 52 this afternoon. Feels almost pleasant. And then tonight it bottoms out at 26. The peach orchards in Georgia are in real trouble tonight. The pecan groves too. This is not a drill. Raleigh at 49 and 26. Richmond at 47 and 28. Drop your city in the comments right now. Tell me what it looks like out your window. I read every single one, and I'll get back to you with a specific read for your area. Here's the thing a lot of folks are going to get caught by tonight. If you planted early this season because of that warm first half of March, and shoot, a lot of people did, you need to cover those plants before the sun goes down today. Don't let the afternoon temperature fool you. 52 degrees feels fine. 26 degrees at 2 a.m. will wipe out everything you planted. And for anyone commuting this morning through Virginia or Pennsylvania, black ice. That's the word. We had wet roads last night, and now they're frozen solid. Already had chain reaction accidents on the highways in both states this morning. Leave early. Leave time to stop. Don't push it. All right, let me give you the quick read on last weekend's severe weather because this was a significant event and it deserves more than a footnote. Sunday alone produced 430 wind reports and 9 confirmed tornadoes from Illinois all the way south through Arkansas, Alabama, and Tennessee. Tornadoes were destructive across parts of Tennessee and the Mid-South. Our thoughts are with everyone in those communities still dealing with the aftermath today. Monday was the Mid-Atlantic, level 4 out of 5 moderate risk on the books. And honestly, the intensity didn't fully show up. That trough underdelivered. Here's why. Too much storm activity early in the day burned up the instability before the atmosphere could really cook in the afternoon. But it wasn't a washout either. Widespread damaging winds from New Jersey down to northern Florida. A couple of tornado reports in North Carolina still being verified. Bottom line, the Mississippi Valley corridor, that's where the big action was. And that's where my March outlook back in mid-February had the highest confidence. On track. Now let's talk about what is coming, and the big driver right now is this enormous ridge of high pressure that's been parked over the western U.S. for days. That ridge is the reason Phoenix hit 102 yesterday. Las Vegas is at 96 today. The whole desert Southwest is running full-on mid-July heat in March. The previous record for Phoenix's earliest 100-degree day? March 26th. We just beat that by 11 days. That's not a weather story anymore. That's a history story. Los Angeles is at 94 today. Santa Ana winds gusting to 50 miles per hour, humidity below 10%. Red flag warnings are already up for LA and Ventura counties as we speak. Here's the thing about a March heat wave that catches people. Your body hasn't had a chance to adjust yet. You've been in cool temperatures all winter long, and then suddenly it's August outside. Your body doesn't know how to handle that the same way it would in July. That gap is where people get hurt. If you're in Phoenix, Las Vegas, Tucson, LA, treat today like a peak of summer day. Hydrate before you're thirsty. Get indoors in the afternoon. Check on your older neighbors. Sacramento at 90, San Jose at 84, Tucson at 99 with wildfire risk in the foothills. This is historic from top to bottom across the West. Now, and here's where the story gets a little more interesting. That western ridge is starting to move east. And when it does, it changes everything. The cold active stretch we've been locked in, it's about to ease up. But before it does, we've got a couple of things to work through first. Today's system is a clipper, a fast-moving, moisture-starved storm riding down from Canada. Think of it like a quick punch instead of a knockout blow. But a quick punch still means snow-covered roads this evening across the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Twin Cities folks, heads up on the commute home tonight. This system pushes through Chicago and Peoria overnight, then gets into the Ohio Valley by early Wednesday morning. Indianapolis, Louisville, Cincinnati, y'all could wake up to flakes flying tomorrow. Snow even tries to work down into the Appalachians by midweek. West Virginia, the high country of Virginia and North Carolina, the Smoky Mountains area around Gatlinburg. Totals on this one? Generally 1 to 3 inches from the eastern Dakotas through Minnesota, Iowa, and northern Illinois. Not a blockbuster, but enough to mess with travel. After that clipper moves through, things quiet down a bit. By Thursday, temperatures start recovering across the Midwest and Ohio Valley. And then the ridge really takes over. By Friday into Saturday, we're looking at 20 to 30 degrees above average spreading across the plains. And that warmth rides east to the coast by the weekend. Denver at 68 today. Oklahoma City is eyeing 90 degrees by this coming weekend, which would be one of the earliest 90-degree readings they've seen in years. Dallas-Fort Worth is at 66 right now, but could be knocking on the 90s door by Saturday. Basically, summer showing up about 2 months early across the southern plains. Now, the Great Lakes and Northeast, y'all aren't going to feel this warm up quite the same way. And here's the honest reason why. 4 feet of snow on the ground in the upper peninsula of Michigan acts like a giant refrigerator. It literally keeps the air above it cold. The warm-up gets smothered. Buffalo at 30, Syracuse at 32, Grand Rapids at 28 with lake effect still spinning. You folks are staying locked in the cold well after everyone else starts to thaw out. All right, here we go. This is what I flagged at the top. The Sunday, March 22nd setup. And the reason forecasters have been quietly watching the European model for the last couple days. The European model is showing a fairly strong low developing near Virginia for Sunday, and what it wants to do with the snowfall is something. It's tracking snow into the northern Ohio Valley, northern Mid-Atlantic, parts of Michigan and New York. And then, here's the wild part. It slides that snow south into southeastern Pennsylvania, central and northern New Jersey, New York City, Long Island, southern New England. Now look, this is 6 days out. I'm not telling you to go buy a snowblower. Confidence is not there yet. But I'm also not going to pretend this isn't worth talking about. Late March snow for the I-95 corridor is genuinely unusual, and the signal has been consistent enough to flag. The European model is showing 2 to 6 inches for a lot of these areas. Spots in the interior Northeast, maybe 6 to 10. That's not nothing, folks. Now the GFS model, America's own model, is more skeptical. It buys snow for interior spots, Pittsburgh, Philly's northern suburbs. But for New York, Baltimore, Boston, the GFS basically says, nope. So we've got the two biggest models in the world disagreeing with each other. That's exactly why I'm flagging this as a heads up. Not a forecast just yet, but a watch this space situation. If you're in the Philly, New York, or Northern Jersey area and you were already thinking about asking, yes, keep an eye on Sunday. It's on the radar. Drop your city in the comments if you want a specific breakdown for your neighborhood. The track on that Sunday low is going to make a huge difference. Snow versus sleet versus nothing. It all depends on where this thing sets up. Now let's look a little further out, because past that Sunday system, we've got another signal popping up around the 24th through the 27th that both models are starting to agree on. The GFS is showing a strong low near Hudson Bay around March 26th. Cold front jutting straight down from the north, not from the west, from the north. That's a backdoor cold front, and those things catch people off guard every time. Most cold fronts sweep across this country west to east. A backdoor front comes from the north, and it catches people off guard every single time. The flip happens faster, the timing is harder to nail down, and the temperature drop can be more abrupt than your standard Pacific origin system. The European model is suggesting 5 or more days of colder than normal air at the very end of March. Take that with a grain of salt. We're talking 10 plus days out. But the signal is consistent, worth watching. If that verifies, it sets up more severe weather opportunities heading into April. And I want to be real with you. April is coming in hot this year. Do not let your guard down. That same corridor, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, down through the Southern Plains, that's been our active zone since late February. It's going to stay our active zone going into spring. Mark it. Quick check-in on the regions we haven't specifically hit yet today. Let's run through these fast. Chicago, 26 high, 8 degrees tonight. Heavy snow on the ground, dangerous cold. If you know someone without adequate heat in Chicago right now, that's not a situation to leave alone. Detroit at 28 with power still out across parts of the metro. Milwaukee and Madison both at 24. Indianapolis at 34. Columbus at 36. The entire Great Lakes and Ohio Valley corridor is locked in this Arctic air mass through at least Wednesday. Memphis drops to 28 tonight. Louisville at 24. Knoxville at 24. Freeze warnings across the South tonight are not a formality. They're real. Montgomery, Alabama, 60 and 32. Birmingham, 58 and 29. Jackson, Mississippi, 62 and 35. These deep south cities are facing their first real freeze of the spring season tonight. East Coast, Washington, D.C. at 48. Black ice on the roads this morning, a genuine hazard. New York City, 44 and 30. Boston, 40 and 26 with that wind off the ocean. It cuts right through you. And then there's Hawaii. A Kona low has been parked on those islands. 10 inches of rain in 24 hours on Oahu. Mudslides. The state government is looking at a federal disaster request to FEMA right now. So let's just sit with this for a second. Minneapolis at 15 degrees. Phoenix at 102. Hawaii in a flood emergency. Same country, same day. This is genuinely one of the most extreme multi-hazard setups I've seen in a long time. All right, here's the good news I promised at the top. And I said it was real, so here it is. Once we work through this week's Clippers, that western ridge slides east and puts a lid on active severe weather for somewhere between 5 and 7 days. The severe weather forecast for the next 7 to 10 days, essentially quiet. After a blizzard that dropped 4 feet on Michigan, 9 tornadoes on Sunday, damaging winds from Jersey to Florida on Monday, and a historic Arctic blast on top of all that, we are getting a breather, a real one. And out in the Pacific Northwest, bonus good news. The Cascades and Sierra Nevada are about to see heavy mountain snow in the late March window as a Pacific trough rolls in. After a rough stretch for snowpack and water supply across the western mountains, that late season mountain snow is something a lot of folks out there have been genuinely waiting on. All right, here's the bottom line, plain and simple, depending on where you are tonight. If you're in the blizzard zone, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Don't rush the cleanup. That wet March snow is the heaviest snow of the year. Take breaks, use a machine if you can, and look out for your neighbors. If you're in the freeze warning zone, Tennessee, Georgia, the Carolinas, Virginia, tonight is the critical window. Cover the plants, protect any exposed pipes. Don't let that 52-degree afternoon fool you about how cold 2 a.m. is going to get. If you're in the Great Lakes or Ohio Valley, Chicago, Detroit, Indianapolis, Columbus, dangerous cold runs through Wednesday. Go knock on your elderly neighbor's door. Make sure they've got heat. If you're in the Mid-Atlantic or Northeast, New York, Philly, D.C., keep an eye on Sunday, March 22nd. Nothing to panic about right now, but keep notifications on so you don't wake up to a surprise. If you're in the Southwest, Phoenix, Vegas, Tucson, LA, this heat deserves July-level respect. Full stop. Don't underestimate it just because the calendar says March. And for everybody, everywhere, charge your phone and your backup battery right now. 180,000 homes without power in one region. Wildfire threat in another. Flooding in Hawaii. All at the same time. Your phone is your lifeline. Look, the folks who come through stretches like this just fine, almost always the ones who knew what was coming and made a plan ahead of time. The folks who get caught out are the ones who figured it probably wouldn't be that bad. Every single time. The storm doesn't care about that. So do me a solid right now. If you've got somebody in Memphis, Atlanta, Nashville, Charlotte, or anywhere in these impact zones who hasn't seen today's forecast, send this to them. A heads up from someone they actually trust is worth 10 push notifications they're just going to swipe away. That's the truth. Drop your city in the comments. Tell me what's going on outside your window right now, and I will come back with a specific breakdown for your area. We're tracking all of it. The freeze warnings tonight, the Clippers through Wednesday, the Sunday, March 22nd potential, and that late March cold front setup heading toward the end of the month. Notifications on so you don't miss a single update. Stay safe out there. Stay sharp. Take care of the people around you, and we'll see you in the next one.